April 26, 1986, Pripyat, Ukraine. Chernobyl reactor number 4 melted down, leading to the worst nuclear disasters in history. The plant released 400 times more radioactive material than Hiroshima, with radioactive fallout from iodine-131 and cesium-137 showering the rest of Europe. 106 workers received enough doses of acute radiation sickness. 28 people died immediately after the explosion. Unfortunately, Pripyat won't be hospitable for another 300 years.
Why did this happen? The deposition of radioactive iodine onto plants was a major concern in the first few months after the incident because of the radioactive iodine decay. Once the plants absorb the radioactive materials in the soil, it easily can be introduced into the food system, which led to a lot of exposure to strontium-90 in milk. Many children develop thyroid cancer, among other types of genetic diseases.
The Soviet Union, isolated by Cold War politics, lost access to safety culture. Human error was found when the plant employees were told to ignore emergency regulations. When the plant started overheating, they ignored the alarm and turned off the emergency shutoff. The Soviet culture didn't believe in the same standards of safety the rest of the world had.
But nuclear reactors are violent. In a nuclear reactor, uranium fuel rods react to produce thermal energy, which evaporates water into water vapor to drive turbines. The control rods must be inserted to slow down the reaction. Cooling water must also be pumped around the core of the reactor to minimize the chance of overheating. When the safety tests began, nearly all of the control rods were removed, so technicians didn't have control over the rate of uranium reactions, and thus temperatures soared. First of all, operators of the Chernobyl went against the plant's technical specifications by running the nuclear plant with very low power and little notice to the staff in charge of safety. All 4 of Chernobyl's reactors were pressurized water reactors and highly unstable with low power. This accelerated nuclear chain reaction led to a power surge that increased temperature, also increasing pressure in pressure tubes containing fuel. Gay-Lussac's gas law aligns with this scenario where temperature and pressure have a direct relationship provided that the volume of a gas remains constant.
The sarcophagus is a concrete roof that was hastily constructed over the remains of reactor number 4 as an emergency measure in 1986 to contain the remains of 100 metric tons of uranium and 1 metric ton of plutonium after the explosion under extreme time restraints. However, because of the non-ideal conditions it was built under, it was not sealed properly, and the structure had corroded over time. This increases the chances of collapsing, releasing more radioactive material into the environment. It was inefficient and a poor measure to combat against the contamination. So, Chernobyl, an accident created by careless Soviets, worsened by cows who like grass with radioactive material, because a reactor heated up too much that it blew off its lid, and caused so much of pain to clean up that people suffer from thyroid cancer to this day. And Chernobyl? You're still not going to be habitable, especially with the ineffective dome seal that corrodes with time and abrasion. Wow, this was a disaster.